All right, folks, thank you so much for making it into our session. This is actually one of many that's going to be hosted by our four deployed engineering mentors and coaches, starting with our wonderful Esteves Watson, all the way from beautiful London, England. The session is going to go ahead and start off with a resume, basically everything you need to know about the resume, from how to optimize the template. We will also be sharing templates as well. If you guys were interested in getting a resume review or any access to the resources, I popped in a link here and it says WAP, Awaken-AI for Deployed Engineers. Please go ahead and actually get into that WAP. We will be hosting additional sessions. In about 6 hours from right now, we will do a follow-up session on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, which will be hosted by another one of our mentors from Amsterdam, all the way from Amsterdam. The FD role is global, people. Kind of hence the name for deployed, right? So without further ado, please pump in your questions into the Q&A button and participate as much as possible. Estevez here is going to be walking you through how to write an ATS optimized resume, along with showing you guys some resume templates.
Awesome.
Mhm. Thank you. Estevez, take it off. It's all yours.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Esteves. Forward deployed engineering mentor at Tech Careers. And yeah, we're going to be here speaking about the role and how to optimize your CV, as we call it in the UK, but resume to you guys, to be the best in the room. If you have any questions, again, put them in the chat. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions as well. Just a quick poll is everyone in here applying for a role? Are people looking for roles? I'd love to know. Maybe we can see in the chat. But I'm gonna continue. And again, a little bit about myself again. I've worked in many roles, most notably McKinsey and Company as an internal facing IT consultant. I've worked for many of the big firms in the UK, again, as an internal facing IT consultant. And we're here today to speak about FDE role. So let's talk about what the FDE role is. The FDE role is a culmination of three things, right? You're a tech consultant, you're a part-time solutions architect, and you're a software engineer, right? And the key thing about this is that you're embedded with the customer, right? You're not in a company doing tickets, you're not building projects for a company, but you're out there on behalf of a company trying to build some revenue, right? Or getting to a place where a company can generate some revenue. And the cool thing about this role is that it's not old. It kind of is old. It's been around for 16 years. It started at Palantir in the early 2020, in the early 2010s. And to be honest, one of the cool things about it is Palantir has more FDEs than software engineers, right? So that's how important the role of being an FDE is. Besides that, let's talk about why it's so worth it, right, to be an FDE. In the last year alone, the role has grown 800%, right? And when talking about ranges, we're speaking about 180K to around 700K base, right? And that can translate to the UK as well. It's a lot of money, right? Companies are literally throwing billions into this role and making sure that people are trained up. But unfortunately, there are not enough people for the roles, right? There's so many roles, and the problem is that with so many roles, you need people to be put in those roles, right? And one of the cool things is that you're gonna have the opportunity to travel. Majority of this role is literally being on site at clients. And A16Z calls this one of the hottest jobs in tech. And the reason why it's so hot is that, you're at the forefront of AI. AI is cannibalizing everything. You really have to understand if you're not an AI-enabled human, unfortunately, you're going to fall behind. And organizations understand this. Many of the organizations in the UK are now relying on AI and in some facet, and that's happening worldwide, right? And the way you are at the forefront of that is becoming a forward deployed engineer. You're going to be in the dirt of it, and you're going to be understanding what a customer needs. You're going to be understanding how can you make this customer money, right? Like what's going to happen. So some of the companies that are out there looking for FDEs are Frontier Labs, obviously Planetaire, which this role actually started. You have Sierra, Glean, Harvey. And funny enough, the UK government is looking to hire FDEs. But before we talk about actually the role, like getting the role, like how do you optimize your CV to get the role? You need to pass the ATS, right? And the ATS is the applicant tracking system. And to be honest, it's not like a super diverse AI. It kind of is, but it's not something that you should be worried about, right? The key thing with the ATS is that it's a filter to make sure that you get to be seen by a human. Um, One of the key things is having keywords on your CV. And that being said, actually, what I want to show is that if you, Richard so kindly mentioned earlier, if you sign up for the WOP, you'll be able to get our templates. So to be honest, if you want to get a shoe in, you have to understand you need to have these keywords on your CV, right? So one of the things we see a lot now is the emergence of voice. If you don't have a project or something related to voice, you're not going to win. And again, if you need this template, you can find it in the WAP. Also, excuse me, also, one of the key things is having a portfolio, right? And you may say, hey, Estevez, I'm not so technical. I may be a project manager. I may be a solutions architect. I may be a salesperson, right? But how do I make sure that if I don't have something else, I can show it up somewhere else? Again, project. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be focusing on 11 labs. We're going to be building voice agents for companies, right? We're going to be showing and documenting how you get a company that doesn't have a voice agent, taking those requirements from them, understanding their business, and building a voice agent that brings revenue, right? And that's the crux of what being an FDE is. So if you guys are interested in that, please do sign up for the WOP. And additionally, if you have a CV that you think that's ready and you have a role, please do sign up for the WOP, and then you can get your CV reviewed by our team, and we can make sure that your CV is on point to be looked at. And again, what we're going to talk about is like what exactly are these companies looking for, right? So a lot of these companies now are looking for, different languages. You may be doing Python, you may be doing Rust, you may be doing a plethora of things. You need to understand how to use APIs, what pipelines look like. Again, when you're in the field, you're going to be wondering how do you deploy, right? How can you understand what's deliverable? Are you going to be able to figure out what is legacy integration? These are all keywords that should be in your CV. And the final thing is, are you customer facing? Have you ever done any discovery? Have you ever done any stakeholder management? Um, it's not a thing where you have to say, oh, I've never done it, but I'm pretty sure we're all professionals. We've all dealt with customers at some point, right? Whether that be the basic level to C-suite. Um, that's what's going to separate you from guys that are strictly, software engineering. Um, you have to find a way to demonstrate that. And again, we can go back to the projects, right? How do you demonstrate that you, first of all, understand the technical by building your agent, right? How do you understand how to deploy? By building that agent, right? Deploying that agent with a company, right? And customer facing, right? You're already speaking to a company who are your customers to get their customers to spend more money. Perfect. So what we're going to look at now is just a small role, and we're going to just dissect what's happening in this role. So let's go to this is a role for deployed engineer in NYC, and you can see it's only technical delivery across multiple deployments from first prototype to stable production. So that means you're going to come in on the ground running and really have ownership of the product, right? So when you're in this role, you're going to understand, okay, I'm starting from zero. I may be deployed to a company that needs integration of OpenAI or some sort. And you have to think about what you're going to be doing. For this role, you need 5 years customer facing. And you don't have to think about like straight customer facing. You can think about, what have you shipped, right? And to who? Is that internal teams? To me, that's customer facing, right? Is it a business team? That also is customer facing. And when you think about everything else, right, you have LLL systems, you have discovery, you have embedding. All those words need to be in your CV. So again, we can talk about the language used. We can talk about having, like one real LLM project. And you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop my link. Just bear with me one moment. If you guys sign up for the WOP, you'll be able to get. I'm actually going to drop it in this chat. So let's do it here. So I'm going to be doing a couple sessions with 11 Labs, and we're going to be building some voice agents, right? And this is a perfect opportunity for you to, again, get an understanding about what an FDE does and having this on your CV. This is super powerful. If you can get ahead of everyone else and have something, a real project, because again, what we're gonna be looking at is, you want to have all of these words. You want to understand what these are. And again, you don't have to put everything, but the reality is like we are going to be focused on the 11 labs. And the second thing is having a portfolio, a website portfolio, right? Again, this demonstrating who you are and what you do, and then a YouTube portfolio, right? How are you speaking about 11 labs? How did you get to the end goal of an engagement, right? All of these things are what recruiters look for when you've passed the ATS level. So one moment. Perfect. And we're going to be talking about the actual formula, right? We're going to be talking about the technical action, the customer context, and the measurable outcome, right? Those are the three key things that are going to make your CV really strong, right? So instead of saying, oh yeah, I built a data ingestion pipeline in Python, what you should be saying is embedded a Fortune 500 uh embedded with a Fortune 500 logistic client, again, showing that the customer context and the keyword there is embedded, deploy a Python slash Airflow pipeline integrating three legacy ERP systems. Again, you're showing the technical solutions along with keywords like deploy, integrate, and legacy. And again, an operational outcome, right? You're going from 5 days to 4 hours, right? Again, dramatic shift, showing dramatic value. And you want to understand what is the commercial value, right? 1.2 million annual contract. Keyword, pilot that, right? Pilot, you piloted that. You made sure that that plane took off and it got to that number and you put it down safely. These are the things, right? We look at numbers are important, right? And accurate and truthful numbers are even more so important. So let's talk about uh, what your page should look like. First of all, we're going to talk about summary. You have the summary. So again, I'm going to go back to this template. You have a summary, not so much here, but right down here, you have an experience. And again, summary is subjective to who you are. Skills, again, we've spoken about the skills, experience, and education, right? And funny enough, if you join our WOP, you understand that we are also doing the Claude practitioners exam. So that's something that you should have under your belt. And people always ask, oh, what if I don't have the title, right? What happens then? No, what you should do is get as close to the title as possible, right? So you say things like forward deployed, you can say that you're customer embedded, right? Those are things that are really close to the actual title of forward deployed engineer. And again, if you don't have the role, that's fine. But again, you want to make sure that you're running demos, you're running customer facing workshops, doing discovery calls, driving pilots, and the reality is engineers don't really do this, right? I was an engineer for a while and I was heads down. I could not speak to a customer. Now I can, right? Through my experience. I've dealt with different teams, right? I've dealt with people internal and external. And you want to understand that you want to show that you have cross-functional ownership, right? You've shipped something that needed multiple departments, right? That's super key. And another thing is the real world project. Again, 11 labs. We love 11 labs here. So what we're going to be doing is showing that you can build something that has value. Hiring managers love that, and that's really going to stand out on your CV. And again, if you have some technical acumen, we all should be having a Claude Code subscription, or Codex or whatever your preference is, but you should be AI enabled. You can ask AI to build something for you, explain it explicitly, and you can understand it really well if you take your time. You have to understand, when you're looking at a role, I have a couple other roles we should look at. What do you want to do, right? Do you want to, let's look at, let's see. Here we go. Or maybe this one. This one's good. Okay, so this is a forward deployed role in London, actually. Same thing, right? You're going to be showing ownership. You're going to, again, same thing as 5 years. Is there another one? Let's see if we have anything else, guys. Uh, okay, this one is for a UK contract for UK government. Okay, so again, same kind of presence as before. When you get and I would implore you when we do our review, bring a role. We can help you align your CV to the role as much as possible. And where you're missing, we can help you build that missing part. But yeah, you want to rewrite the summary, you want to mirror the title of the role. Again, you want to, if there's any bullet points, you want to make sure that your resume aligns with those bullet points. And again, you want to make sure that what you're saying is truthful, right? If there's anything missing, please do let us know, and we can align you to that role a little bit better than if you were to do it by yourself. And again, when you're going through your CV, you want to make sure that you're preparing for the interview, right? You've already won. That's the key thing here. You've already won. You don't have to worry about, oh yeah, this or that. What you want to make sure is that you're prepared for a potentially take home. If there's any code review, if you can understand it. Is there any customer role playing, your key there? If there's any operator behavior, right? Like what happens, or just have these stories ready. And the way you can do this is by actually completing the role. And we hear these questions all the time, right? We hear like, if you don't have a role, what happens? Or if you've never worked with LLM, again, come over to the WAP and we'll get you sorted out. But I'm gonna wrap it up there, and I'm gonna say, do we have anyone with questions? Do we have any questions in the
Yeah, actually, before if you guys have questions, please pop it in. But like Estevez, pretty pleased with sugar on top. Could I go ahead and share my screen for a second?
Yeah, for sure. One moment.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually pop in here. If you guys have not gotten into our WAP yet, please go ahead and actually do so because the market's absolutely ripping right now. And you can actually schedule, give me a second here. You can actually go ahead and schedule a call with us if you'd like to learn more about our forward deployed engineering program. But like the reason why forward deployed engineering position is so hot, and I actually had a direct question shot over to me on LinkedIn about whether or not forward deployed engineers are effectively replacing product managers. And the answer is both yes and no. Short term, no. Long term, yes. And I'll go out there and tell you guys why. So, this is actually the CEO of a company called Paraform, which is disrupting recruiting. Paraform is the actual recruiting platform that is used by the top level, I'll say AI native companies right now. If you guys don't have an account with Paraform, please go ahead and actually get on Paraform. It's the premier recruiting platform, not LinkedIn, for Palantir, for Cursor, for Rippling. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys why. As of just this year alone, 335 Palantir alumni have started their own companies. They have they have launched, they have gotten funding, and if you look at some of these names like Anduril, Nominal, Kaushi, they are all crushing it. And there's a good reason for that is because companies, why is Microsoft throwing $2.5 billion into solving this problem of driving AI adoption? Microsoft is going to be hiring 6,000 forward deployed engineers this year. OpenAI is topping that by bringing on, they are going to be dumping about $4 billion, which we're actually going to have a whole article on this, but their initial investment is going to be $4 billion in setting up their own OpenAI deployment company. Why? Because when you're hiring for a forward deployed engineer, you are not getting an employee. You are not getting just a rock star AI implementation specialist. You are getting a future founder in training. This is probably what the entire industry has really opened up their eyes to is take a look at this. Kaushi, CEO, Tarek Mansour, where did he start his career off at? Palantir 4 deployed engineer. The founder of 11 Labs, Matty, where did he start off his career at? For Palantir as a deployment strategist. So the skills that are going to make you a successful forward deployed engineer, which is knowing how to build, knowing how to ship quickly, going on site, knowing how to communicate with the customer, knowing how to get customers for your customer. Those are all really good skills, and it makes for the absolute perfect founder training ground. Um, Actually, like Fast Company did a whole piece on this called Inside the Founder Factory, known as Palantir, America's most polarizing company. They're driving basically like all of the most exciting founders right now. If you're trying to get a VC meeting, the most exciting thing they want to see is not a Harvard or Stanford MBA anymore. It is not used to be a rotational product manager or product manager at Google or Meta. It is Palantir FDE or somebody that was trained up by a Palantir FDE. Because the return on investment, 63 unicorn startup founders for every single 10,000 employees have become like there's 63 unicorns. If we are claiming that we are in a data-driven profession, no other job is giving companies this type of return. So let's just say Google hires Estevez as a product manager. The reality is Estevez is going to go ahead and actually move on. When you actually invest into Estevez as a forward deployed engineer, you are making sure that he is equipped with all the skills. How many times, as they like to say inside the company, how many times have they deployed? It's all there. So when Estevez comes back to the CEO, in this case, like Alex Karp or anybody else, and says, "Hey, boss, I have an idea." They don't feel that Estevez is a gamble. They know how many times he's deployed. They know how many client hours he's logged. They know how much revenue he's logged. So it's no wonder these guys like Kaushi and Matty, or like 11 Labs, or any of these 335 people, they don't feel like they're making a bet. It's almost as close to guaranteed money as possible. So the mindset shift that everybody needs to have, if you have not scheduled a call with us, please go ahead and do so, is you are not getting a job, you are getting founder and training. Because when they take a look at the data of how many product managers actually started their own companies versus how many forward deployed engineers started their own companies, and then how much revenue do product managers generate versus how much revenue do forward deployed engineers generate, they're just feeling like they're getting a much better return on investment, paying almost the same amount of money, if not more. That's why you're seeing FDEs make like the $1 million rates into an FDE. So total comp, it can be anywhere that we're seeing in the terms of numbers, it's 350 to like $1 million. So what you present on your resume, you don't need to necessarily have the forward deployed engineering title, but what they really do look for is somebody with a high degree of agency, confidence, how they communicate, and what's their follow up and follow through. Like if you send out a LinkedIn message and you're not following up with that LinkedIn message, they deliberately look for things like, well, is Estevez going to go ahead and follow up in like 24 hours? Or what's he going to come back with? And what's he going to come back with, right? Because that's essentially what it is that you're doing. You are iterating, shipping, gathering feedback, reiterating, and then shipping again. The speed at which they move is just insane. So, like, think Delta Force meets Coder meets Wolf of Wall Street sales.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, and the teams that they talk about are like Echo Team, Delta Team. Uh,
Alpha team.
Well, for a very long time, tech was like, it was very like, kind of like chill, laid back hippie vibes. And then now everybody's like, yeah, that military, good, aggression, rev. What questions can we get answered for y'all today? Because we actually do have some referrals that are coming up. It's very important that everybody has their portfolios ready because they will go ahead and gauge for that on the interview. Um, but this is your time, folks. What questions do we have? Hmm.
There was a question in the
Q&A?
chat about portfolios.
Yeah. Where uh who actually asked that question? Do we know? Who is the question that you said it before to be
Randy.
documented? Huh? Was it
Randy
Randy?
asked.
Do you recommend listing a GitHub portfolio? Where would you rank it versus YouTube website? And then Randy, what's your background? Where are you calling in from, my man? You said uh it has to be documented and on
Hello?
GitHub. Yeah, can you hear us?
I think I can hear.
I think we can hear a stubble of you.
Yeah, we can hear a little bit of you, Randy.
Okay, I'm going to answer the question for Randy. GitHub is definitely important, but probably more important is going to be your YouTube because they need to see how it is that you communicate.
Got it.
If you aren't going to be an effective communicator, we're moving into an era right now in tech work where all the major roles are all merging literally into one, and it's called builder. So if you know how to
Yeah,
sell and you know how to market, you got to learn how to build. And if you know how to build, you got to learn how to sell and you got to learn how to market. Uh, in terms of recruiting data, it's easier and it's faster. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier getting somebody that doesn't know how to build to learn how to build versus somebody that knows how to build but does not know how to sell or market very effectively. It takes a longer time, but it's not like it's impossible. You got to do basically all three. So
yeah.
your YouTube is gonna go. What's your background before I take this farther?
So I am a PM. I've been a PM for most of my career, and took some time to try to build my own thing, and now I'm trying to transition into. I'm looking at PM roles, but I'm also looking at this for deployed engineer role, and it seems like it's a nice mix because I see myself as a builder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, looking to transition from sort of PM to a forward deployed engineer. So yeah, that's why I joined today.
Got it. Did you schedule time to already speak with somebody on our team?
I haven't. I was going to sign up after this.
Do it right now. Deploy.
All right. All right. All right. Doing it right now.
Deploy. But I'll go ahead and actually tell you there is actually this role. Um, are you seeing my screen right now? And it's actually called,
No.
yeah. It's actually called deployed product manager.
Mm,
This is actually why, like, we actually tell whether product managers are going to want to be deployed engineers or not. They're going to deploy.
yeah.
We're all
I,
jumping
I I'm
into
seeing
program
that. I'm
now.
seeing that transition. So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I just get ahead of the curve and just start making that move.
Yeah. So recently here, our friend Rohan Varma, he posted up, he's like, I'm hiring for a new role. they are building up an army of four deployed product managers over there at OpenAI, and they're hiring for a gang of them. Now, having said that, though, where did this is actually Mr. Rohan Varma's LinkedIn right now. Do you know where he also started off his career?
Palantir.
Palantir, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. FDE, he was a former FDE. If you are a FDE right now, Palantir, you are exotic Pokemon. You can kind of tick your pick into whichever company, whichever city you want in the world, and they'll basically build around you. But yeah, in terms of they need to know how it is that this is actually why like part of our exercise is actually having people like it's no longer about your skills anymore, Randy. They want to see how well you gauge an audience. They want to see how well you captivate the audience, and most importantly, like how you're able to mobilize people to take action. During the interview, there's a ton of software engineers trying to break into this role that are way more technical, and they're losing out to people coming out of our program that don't come from a software engineering background because they largely like we're mobilizing a lot of people from investment banking, management consulting that have the soft skills and are able to influence people's decisions, influence them to taking action. And they can learn the building part basically right afterwards. But that ability to identify like revenue opportunities and how to work with people, it's not an easy skill to have, which we also train upon as well. But yeah, we're all moving into deployment era.
Or-
Yeah.
Deploy or die,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Deploy or die.
well, we have to just be honest about what tech is that most companies have, and Estevez, I think you know this coming from McKinsey and then also spending some time at Antler, is that companies only really have about a 7 to 13 year shelf life. You want to go ahead, run like crazy, grab that bucket of cash, and then you're deploying it to other businesses. And a big part of whether or not those businesses are going to be successful and coming, I think, out from Antler and McKinsey, I think you probably know this better than any one of us, is that they're really betting on the player. So if we
100%.
know that we have like a battle-hardened wartime leader that's running that organization, then like that just makes so much sense. So you take somebody like, I think right now we can all agree that the recruiting system is so broken, right? You take somebody and you give them all the FDE training, and he's like, hey, boss, I think we can disrupt recruiting. You don't feel like this is a gamble. Like if I went to James right now and say, "Hey, I think there's an area here where we could disrupt hiring, right?" And if you take a look at all these companies, Palantir, Decagon, Rippling, I think we can all agree that we all hate Greenhouse. We want to murder Workday. And it does not feel like you're getting a lot of value. And whether you're trying to get a job or you're like an us who are hiring for people, these platforms aren't very usable. Um, Maybe like 10 years ago, but they haven't iterated on much. So when you see an area that can be disrupted, boom. I don't feel like investing in somebody building an AI-driven recruiting platform is going to be a gamble. I actually feel like it's going to be like almost a money printing machine. So yeah, Randy, when they're looking at you, my man, they're not looking at like I'm hiring another product manager or I'm hiring another forward deployed engineer. They really take a look at like 3 or 4 years from now, and Randy is going to go ahead and be a top earner for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anybody? Okay, so you said documented. Luke here asked, you said it has to be documented and on GitHub. Most client stuff I work on, I would never be hosted on. It just has to be documented somewhere, Luke, where they basically have some proof of it. And I think like, um, let's go out there and figure out ways where we can show people work without actually like showing client work that has proprietary data. This is in the coming weeks, Estevez, and then we also have one of our other mentors right here, which I'm pretty pumped up to go out there. Oh, hang on. She dipped out, I think. But one of our other mentors here is going to be hosting 11 Labs, 11 Labs, how to build voice AI agents for businesses. So I'll show you guys right now the future of actually interviewing.
Hey, by the way, there's a couple of questions in the Q&A section, just calling out.
Oh shit, I didn't see that. Okay.
Felipe, starting from the top down here. I'm already working on AI projects, email creator, and my newest one is an AI production assistant. Can I change my title? Um, can we bring Philippe up here and ask him to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
elaborate on the question?
I think, oh, there we go. Oh, I didn't scroll down. Actually, Wintana's still here. Wintana, please come to join us. Um, Felipe. Uh, let me see here. Okay, you asked two questions. I'm already working on AI projects. I'm already working on AI projects right now. And my newest one is AI production assistant. Can I change my title? Yeah, title actually doesn't matter as much as what kind of results are you driving. That's actually more important.
And you could call it whatever you want on your
Yeah,
resume. It's your resume.
yeah,
You're the one typing in the keyboard when you're
uh,
producing that CV of yours, and so always keep that in
yeah.
mind.
It,
Um,
if you guys are going on the Palantir website right now,
mm,
like they're hiring for people as young as in high school.
Literally, literally.
Yeah, because like the number one thing is, and they actually kind of, I've actually heard from some people they prefer it because like they're not as like the older you get a little bit more fearful. And then you start thinking, like, start overthinking things. There's like, yeah, why don't we just do this? They're just moving. So your title doesn't matter as much. Show the results and actually show the monetary value. You know a lot of talented engineers in Mexico. How can I train them to learn this and also find projects? I think it starts with scheduling a call with us and then being part of our joining our program, being a part of our ecosystem. Like yesterday, James and I already put out a YouTube video, which we're going to send as part of the follow-up blast. Please get into WAP if you guys have not already. Look at how many times I've already had this call to action. Because the first time it was kind of like, yeah. The second time is like, oh yeah, I need to get the resume templates. And the third time is, James and I started already reaching out to Y Combinator founders for their forward deployed engineering roles. Yesterday, we have a whole YouTube video on that. We're going to be uploading that also into Zero to Hero. If you guys want to take advantage of those positions, it's like you got to have that portfolio. You got to have the skills. And most importantly, you need to have the Claude certified architect foundations. Um, and then you need to be a part of these partner networks like the Claude partner network or the OpenAI partner network, which we just applied to. But they need to see the validation isn't going to come from your answers. The validation is going to be coming from a workshop that Estevez is hosting right now, where they are seeing him influence people to take action. So, yeah, how can former tech program managers move to the FDE role? Starts off with scheduling a call, taking a look at your background, seeing whether or not you're going to be a good fit for the program. But the next thing is getting your resume, getting your LinkedIn, getting your YouTube channel up, and making it look as forward deployed friendly as possible. Like if you owned a restaurant, you don't care if I went to a Michelin star culinary school. What you care about right now is if I can bring in people to eat at the restaurant. And if they're spending money, that's all you care about. This is the part of the business that the forward deployed engineers own, that the product managers were supposed to own, but never really did, which is actually going all the way to the end, is that dollar amount, you know? And we're moving away from that model now. The best way I can go ahead and describe it is if any of you downloaded Tinder right now, you are responsible for finding your own success and happiness on Tinder. Nobody from Tinder is telling you what photos to upload. Nobody's telling you what to go ahead and what are the best messages to be sent. It's all on you. If you're a restaurant and you're on Yelp or TikTok or Resi or OpenTable, None of those platforms are helping you as a restaurant get more customers. Um, if you're like in the past, we have a lot of resources that we hand out for free. We utilize a combination of Airtable, Notion. This event right now, this webinar is hosted on Eventbrite. um, YouTube, we pump out a bunch of YouTube videos. For the last 9 years we've been in operation, never has there been a time, not even once, where any of those businesses reached out to us and asked us, James and Rich, how can we help you guys be more successful? In the past 15 days, we've been blown up. We want to learn about your business. We want to know how it is we can help you guys because that's what you guys want, right? To get success. So your job is to either help your customers get more customers, or your job is to help your customers drive more success. So the future of for deployed engineering interviews is actually here. We're gonna host. We hosted an 11 Labs hackathon. And what does 11 Labs care about? They care about people utilizing their platform. We hosted a hackathon. We had 75 people click, 20 people signed up, two people paid up. We made $31 in a day. So Estevez in the coming weeks are going to be hosting 11 Labs hackathon too, and he's going to be able to go and actually show this. Now, even if you were not 11 Labs, if you saw this, you would be impressed. Because, oh, it seems like he's doing more of a job, or Wintan is doing more of a job than my own people. Right? As a business owner, Estevez, you've been to Antler. Don't you just feel like your team sucks? Don't you feel like you're Jude Bellingham? I'm carrying the team all the way through on my own back. Ain't nobody helping me. Ain't nobody like Wintana, you're your own business owner too, right? Don't you feel like you guys aren't thinking about Wintana? How are we gonna make payroll? You guys thinking about how it is that I'm eating right now? But if somebody's coming in here and helping you guys rev up, it's like Estevez right now, if he owned a pub and then all of a sudden I brought like 30 guys to eat fish and chips, Estevez is gonna be all rich, thank God. Oh, thank freaking God
I
Almighty.
needed it.
I did. We needed that so much. Like Wintana, we go out there and we're gonna pop you onto a newsletter. You see an extra 10,000 views on one of your shorts, right? You're gonna be, oh, right. That's actually it. And the business is realizing it, and that's why all these companies, OpenAI is throwing $4 billion with a capital B on this problem because Sam Altman has not given a shit whether or not you guys know how to use ChatGPT. But now that okay, it's very clear that I don't know why it's taken us more than 2,000 years as a society to figure out what Palantir did in 2010. Oh, think about it, Yelp. If it's just like, oh my gosh, if we actually help the restaurants on Yelp get more customers and reservations, and then other restaurants would want to get on Yelp, it's motherfucking rocket science. If Estevez and Estevez, I know you spent some time in state, so Yelp. If Yelp help you fill up your reservations at your restaurant for the next 3 weeks, Yelp doesn't need you to make a short. You'd be fucking telling everybody about Yelp.
Literally, yeah.
Right? We get people jobs. That's why every enrollment gets another 26 people for us because they're like, how the hell did you get a job at Nike? Right? Because that's the thing. You help your customers go all the way and then they tell everybody else about you. So stop focusing on I would say 8 years ago, all the product managers, because they didn't like to deal with customers, you'd ask them to be like, hey, you guys want to do a customer discovery session? You see the guys say, oh, I got to focus on product. Hey, you want to meet with accounting? I got to focus on product. Now, everybody on the forward deployed engineering side, they're winning because they're like focusing on the customer, spend as much time. I spend easily 11 hours a week with my customers that have paid. I'm not even talking about the ones that haven't paid yet. Just the ones that have paid. I'm spending about 9 hours with them a week, making sure that they're successful. Right. So, like, yeah, the people that are going to make their customers the most successful, they're the ones that are going to go ahead and win. So, Felipe, schedule a call so we can find out how you can train up a rock star savage group of forward deployed engineers in Mexico. Because if the opportunity is if it's this bad right now in just the English speaking market, homie, imagine the Spanish speaking market, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
Felipe, you would dominate. You would
yeah, you
dominate.
would dominate. Like, if it's this bad in New York, in New York, can you imagine that? So that's like the thing, you know? So, Catherine, I heard that you spoke with my colleague yesterday. Let's not wait and let's go ahead and get on it because there is just too much money to be printed right now. James and I are working until you guys are seeing what time we're posting up the WAP messages. We're working until 1 a.m. every single day. A lot of like Shamath from Social Capital. He's becoming an operator again, and he was like, the only reason why I would ever put on my boots and a jersey again is because there's mad money to be made, and that's exactly the time that we're in right now. So, any other questions? Yeah, just host like we're actually gonna do this starting next week with Estevez and Wintana. Instead of telling customers how they can monetize off of ads engines, let's just help them get some better ads out there, because they would tell everybody, I don't know, it's called 10 labs, 11 labs, 55 labs, like, but it's better than the content that I'm putting out there. And we're getting call bookings, we're getting restaurant bookings right now. They would tell everybody. And the reason why this is the best time to get this job is all those people that you guys interviewed with, that you guys know you guys can do the job better than, you can take their job because Estevez, you know this living in the UK. There's no loyalty in this shit. They don't give a shit how many Champions League you win, right? If you're just not, if they just feel so much as they think somebody else can perform, you're out.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho. It's just it could you could literally right now get help your dream companies this is what we're here to do. Help your dream companies customers get more customers and you can take all the jobs away from all the people that shouldn't even be working there, that should not even be interviewing you. Take their jobs away. Literally. It's about to get Squid Game real quick out here. August is going to be a hot month. There's six more companies that have been reported by A16Z and Y Combinator that's going to be throwing $1 billion at solving the problem of onboarding forward deployed engineers. And the whole market, there's a bigger play here. We're creating a lot more. Everybody schedule call if you guys haven't already, because companies are realizing right now we used to invest all this money. Jensen Huang, his son is a product manager. His daughter is a product marketing manager. And, they're grooming them for training ground for succession, right? And what companies are realizing right now, the best training ground is to hire forward deployed engineers. So if Estevez 3 years from now is like, I'm sitting down with him because we want to make Estevez happy. That's what the good companies do. It's like, Estevez, what do you think we need to do? And you're like, I think I can build an AI to help the US win the World Cup. How would you do? It's not just a pipe dream anymore. They know how many deployments he has, they know how many hours he's logged, they know how much revenue he's generated, they know all of the battles that he's been through and he's won. So when he's presenting a plan, they almost feel like it's guaranteed money. So how much do you need? I'm going to need for starters I'm gonna need a Louis Vuitton duffel bag full of cash in the ballpark of $30 million. We got you. We throw all our resources behind you, and that's why all the Palantir folks who's making the most money right now, Palantir, who's making the most money for Palantir, all ex-Palantir people. And it's not like the boys they grew up with in the neighborhood. They are battle-hardened war veterans that they know can generate cash. Okay. So, Felipe, you know a lot of talented engineers that are in Mexico. You shouldn't be looking at them like, oh, how do I get some of this business to subcontract? Those are going to be your future Cowshees in 11 labs, right? Can you imagine getting a steak off a freaking Cowshee? You're just
That's
swimming in
generational
cash.
wealth. You're right. That's generational wealth.
You're just like, Wintana, keep doing what you're doing. Schedule a call, folks. Any other questions before we go ahead and wrap it up? Okay, we got a lot more sessions. Everybody come out to the LinkedIn session. Our instructor out there from beautiful Amsterdam. And this is the beautiful thing. You can live anywhere. The head of OpenAI's forward deployed engineering, he is an American, but he lives in London. I guess he chooses to. Um, but like we'll see you guys at 6 p.m. That one's gonna be live streamed over there inside of WAP. If you have any questions, resume reviews, but let's go ahead and let's get that money, folks. Talk to y'all very, very, very soon.
See
Thank
you.
you, Estevez. Appreciate it. Thank you, Wantana.
Thank you.
Thank you.